Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wardah Shahira binti Hashim. I am Human Resource Development student from University Malaysia Sarawak, UNIMAS. Okay, today I'm with Sir Syed as a grade manager, as a experience of manager. So, how are you today, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, let me proceed our interview. Okay, sir. Can you introduce yourself first? For example, your personal bio, work experience, and the post you're currently holding right now.
Okay, I am 54 years old. My full name is Syed Hasanuddin bin Syed Hashim. I am a senior general manager for Bumi Amarda Navigation Sdn Bhd, which is a shipping company which specializes in oil and gas transportation. I've been working with the company since 1996, and to date, it's been nearly 25 years with the company.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, how long you have been holding the position of manager in this company?
I was promoted as a manager in 1997. Actually, at the time, it was a branch in Kerteh, so I was promoted as branch manager in 1997. And due to promotions and all that, my post now is senior general manager for chartering and commercial.
Sir, how many employees under the company you manage?
Well, it depends on the designation that I took. When I was branch manager, it was about 12, 13 employees. And then when I moved up to head office, with my current position, I have 20, sometimes 25 people working for me now.
Okay, how do you persuade people to do what you want?
Persuade people. Okay. For you to persuade, I mean, it's you have to look at your staff as how you look at yourself. If you want to persuade people, you have to understand that your boss needs to persuade you as well. Okay. So look at, I mean, if you put yourself into their shoes as staff, you know, why do I do what my boss wants? You see. So the staff, if you understand that part, then you will understand how the staff will do what you want. Usually, for me, it's not difficult to persuade because if you show them respect, if you give them the opportunity to speak, if you listen to them, they will appreciate the things that we do for them. And by doing that, you know, when we ask them to do things, sometimes it will be difficult things to do. Sometimes you have to do certain things on project basis, which is there's a timeline, you know, there's a budget that they have to keep. So if they understand how what we want as their boss, I think they will do whatever is needed of them. Important thing is to listen to them. That's how I feel. You know, you have to listen to them. You know, when you have so many people working for you, you must understand that each one has their own problems, have their own aspirations. You know, some work for money, some work for satisfaction. So some of them even work because they need to work, in a sense that they want to achieve to become a manager one day, to become a general manager one day, so they have their own needs. So if you understand that about them, then you know why they do what they do. So to make it easier, if you listen to them, you understand their needs and all that, then it's easier for you to persuade them to do things. Usually, if you have a good relationship, then getting them to do things will not be any problem.
Yes. Okay, sir. What are the challenges you face as an experienced manager?
Challenges, there are many. There are, to me, I will draw it down to two things: one internal challenges, and one external challenges. When I talk about internal challenges, it's about your staff, your boss. When I talk about external challenges, it's about your customer, the authorities you deal with outside of your company. So there are many challenges when you become a manager. The thing is, whatever the challenges, you must overcome those challenges, especially internally, your staff. You have challenges whereby the job given to you and you have passed on to your staff needs a lot of effort from them, but it's given to be done in such a short time. So the challenges to try and deliver the work is very difficult. So what needs to happen is that you have to have good teamwork. You have to have very good understanding between you and your staff. There must be some give and take, meaning to say, if they work until 12 at night, then you don't expect them to be back in the office by 8 in the morning. So these challenges is something that you as a manager has to overcome, and it's how you manage your staff to ensure that they provide or they perform the job that's given to them, and that's internal. And then there's external challenges whereby you deal with clients. When you deal with clients, there's always a saying that the client is always right. It comes to a point whereby you have to understand that generally, yes, the client is always right, but there are times where the client is wrong and you have to tell them. So that is also a challenge, because what you do, you should be the expert at what you do. So sometimes the client, they don't understand that, so they ask for this, they ask for that. So it becomes, for you, it's not possible to do everything within a certain period of time. So you have to tell them nicely, no, you cannot do it this way. Even though they want it, no, this is the way you have to do it. Because you are the expert, you should be advising them. So these external challenges is difficult because sometimes they feel frustrated with you because you cannot deliver, but you have to explain to them, this is how it should be done, and that, so that you satisfy, if possible, 100% of their needs or what they want. But if not, if you can give them 90% and they're satisfied with you, then it should be okay. But these are challenges, that every manager face.
Okay, right now, sir, as a manager, how do you manage your time at home, at work?
I think managing time is all about planning.
Planning, yes.
So if you plan your day, or you plan your projects, you must understand that if you plan well, it doesn't always work out well. So when you do your planning, let's say for a project, you have one big project for 3 months, you have to complete it within 3 months. If you plan well, then you start delegating your work to your staff. Okay, you do this, you do that, you do this. 1 week's time, we come back, we see what how much has been done, so we can discuss again. So, but sometimes when you plan, you come. You meet some speed bumps, in a sense that there becomes a problem. This fellow cannot do this. This fellow is sick. So these are the things that you must always have a backup plan. When you plan, there's always a backup plan that's already in you, so that you don't have to worry. If something happens, there's always a backup plan to overcome those problems. That is managing time on projects. Managing time at home. For me, I try to be at work early, because I like being at work early because it's not as busy yet. If I'm at work by 7:30 in the morning, I can get a lot of the paperwork done before 9. Once the staff starts coming in at 9, then there's meetings, there's this, there's that. So you can't really get your paperwork done. So when I get to work in the morning, I start planning. Okay, what am I going to do today? What meetings have I got? Who do I have to go and see today? So I plan. why I do that is that so that I can go home by 5 o'clock. Because you have to understand, your work, your mind can work up to so much only. If you overwork yourself, your mind will start to get tired. You start to be, the work.
Moody,
Yes,
right.
the work done also is like half finished. Not 100%, maybe 70% only, because you're tired. You just want to get it done. So that's not. That's not the right way. So that's why you plan so that you can go home by 5. Sometimes you have meetings at 6 o'clock. Never mind. You go for your meetings at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you finish, you come back. But try to be home or try to leave the office by 5 o'clock so that you can spend some time at home with your kids, with your wife. Even though you're tired, you're just staying at home, at least your presence at home, they're happy. So if you're always home 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, by the time you come home, your daughter already sleeping. By the time you leave, your daughter not yet wake up. So you don't see them. So try and get to spend time in the office and also at work. And also at home. Because at the end of the day, you work for what? You work for your family so that the family can live comfortably. You can achieve sending your kids to school, and so that you have money for that, so that you can buy a house, buy a car, whatever you want. So the whole point is, at the end of the day, why are you working? It's for the family. Your priorities will start to change once you get married, once you have children. So your priorities change.
Nice. Okay, how do you handle the large group of employers under you to ensure the work your team does it quality, not just quantity?
When you have a large group of people working for you, you have teams. It's not that let's say you have 20 people working for you. It's not that these 20 people all do their own thing. No. So you break them up into teams. Let's say you have a sales team, an operations teams, a commercial team, whatever. So each team, you have to appoint someone who can take care of the team. Let's say you have 20 people, you break them down into 4 teams. So that's 5 people a team. So this team does the sales, this team does operations, So you need to always meet with the team leaders, at least with the team leaders. If it's possible, if you have the time, meet with everyone. But you can meet one by one per team, so that every discussion in the team is focused on what they have to do. And your job is to ensure that this team, the 4 teams that you have or the 5 teams that you have, work together. If there's miscommunication between the teams, you won't get your projects done. You won't get your work done. So all the teams must understand what you want. So by doing that, by delegating work to the teams, you monitor them. And you make sure that and also give them a timeline. Meaning to say, okay, I need this done by next week. You don't give them a big timeline. For me, it's best to give them small timelines. If the project is for 3 months, then you break it up. Okay, next week I need this to be done first. And always have spare time at the end of the project so that you can go back to see where you have done wrong, to review what you have done. So that when at the end of the 3 months, once you're about to submit your project, then you have time. You see? So managing a lot of people is not difficult if you know how to manage. In a sense that one team is like one employer, okay? One team, one employee, so that you're actually managing 4 or 5 people only, but you're actually managing 4 or 5 teams, which consists of 20 people.
How will you monitor the performance of your staff?
Staff performance, actually, there's many tools that you can use nowadays. HR has softwares. Okay, in the company that I work for, there is a HR software whereby you apply your leave through the software. You put in your weekly report, your timesheet, for instance, in the software, and your salary is even paid through the software in the sense that your payslip is in the software. So when you have a software, management can monitor, you know, okay, this guy sick this week, he's sick one day, the rest of the days he was working, and then he comes in because nowadays when you go into the office, you have a card to
Punch card.
not a punch card. This is electronic card.
Oh,
You swipe yourself in, then when you leave, you swipe yourself out. Because if you don't swipe, you can't open the door. So you swipe in, you swipe out. Right? So that is automatically recorded in the software. So they know what time you come in, what time you leave. Kan? So for the salespeople, they usually go out. So if they swipe in, let's say 8 in the morning, and then 10 o'clock they swipe out, meaning they went out. Then let's say 1 o'clock they come back. Then you know these 3 hours they went out, maybe to meet clients. Then if you're not sure, then you can ask them. You see, but managing performance, you can do it through software nowadays. Meaning to say, you can see their movement, how long they've been in office, if they were sick, their claims. Claims are also, you can, when they travel, they have claims, right? So it's applied through the software. So part of your performance monitoring can be done by software. But you also need to have for me, I prefer to have weekly, maybe bi-weekly meetings, because I want to see my staff. I want to talk to them, and I encourage them to participate in meetings. Because with meeting with them, when I talk to them and they talk back to me, I can see whether they understand or don't understand what needs to be done. From there, I can gauge their performance. So if I always interact, then I can gauge better during meetings. And also, for you to assess how well they are doing, start delegating work. See if they can handle it. If they can handle it without coming to you, most probably they're confident. But even though they're confident, they may not be doing it right. So it's good once a while, if you delegate something, once a while you go to them and say, hey, how are you doing on that? How are you doing on this? So that you understand whether they are doing it right or not. Sometimes they are, not say scared, but they don't even have time to come and see you and ask you, hey, I've done this. Should I do it this way? Yeah? I mean, some people, they do it quite well. Some people, they get a bit confused of how to do things. So when you delegate, you get them to do certain things. That way also, you can appraise them on their performance. And also, usually bigger companies, they have performance appraisal, whereby the management will give me a target, and I will delegate some of the targets to my staff. And we will do performance appraisal every year. This is usually for their bonuses and increments and all that. But these performance appraisals, you have to understand, usually what management gives you and what you give to them must be the same, in a sense, must lead to the same objectives. So when you give them performance appraisal, sometimes you know that person, if I give him this, maybe he cannot do it. Because you know his weaknesses, his strengths and all that. So if I give her this, maybe she can do better. So then you start, giving it to them. You pick and choose of who you want to give what jobs and all that. But at the end of the day, you not only appraise them on whether they deliver the project or not, but how they handle the project, how they handle clients. You have to look at all aspects. You have to look at it as a whole, not only specific jobs. Some people, they work very hard, but then even though they work hard, they cannot deliver. Then there must be something wrong. That's why when you always see them, you can see that, he's been working very hard, always go back 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. But then the first project, they can't deliver. So you have to come back to them and say, look, what's going on? Are you doing it right? What are you doing wrong? Then you start coaching. Yes. So because you have to understand, to assess their performance, and there is always management assessing your performance, my own performance. And so if they don't deliver to me, I don't deliver to my management. And so you have to ensure that you do it correctly, you be patient, and you have to encourage them. I think that is the best way.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing your experience. I hope I can be a great leader like you one day.
You're welcome,
Okay,
inshallah.
thank you, sir.